Pokemon needs changes. Those changes will only be made possible by taking 3DS and throwing it in the garbage forever. But I'll get to that. First, I gotta say, happy Thanksgiving. We've had a ton of new people join in on our community to talk games, anime, our thoughts and opinions on them. I'm thankful for each and every one of you, and I'm ecstatic that you guys seem to be enjoying the channel and the stuff that we make. I just wanted to use a bit of the time in this video to say that, and to let you guys know that if you really like the things we do and would like to contribute to our ability to make it better and more often, you can go to gaming.youtube.com/fanatixfour and sponsor us. This will give you access to our custom sub badge and the ability to use a new emote. Let us know in the comments what emote you would like, and know that if you're not able or unwilling, that's cool. Whether you do choose to sponsor or just keep watching, liking, commenting, sharing these videos. Okay, I'm going to continue on to this video now. Like many of you, I'm sure, I've been playing through Pokemon Ultra Sun. I like it fine. It's what I expected, but I'd be lying if I said it was perfect. And that's not the game's fault. Like I said, I knew what it was going to be. A mix between the traditional Pokemon Yellow, Crystal, Emerald, etc. sort of thing, and the newer approach being Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. I knew the story would be the same as Sun and Moon at a lot of points, with changes here and there. New post-game stuff, some new Pokemon, nothing major, and that's fine. My problem is with the kinks I see in the series' armor caused by the hardware it's running on. 3DS is holding Pokemon back. Really, it always has been since the first 3DS Pokemon games were released. Since X and Y, Pokemon was already too taxing on the hardware. Fast forward to now, and that strain is even more apparent. The loading screens, the frame drops, the slow battle transitions are all the byproduct of a series that wants to push forward on a platform that hasn't moved forward enough. The games themselves are incredible and quite the feat considering the anemic processors and sub 480p screens, which usually is to service that 3D no one uses, except for me, sometimes. Look, Kid Icarus Uprising looked cool in 3D, sue me. And Pokemon on 3DS, even that doesn't work. And I'm not a specs or graphics stickler, but it's clear what Game Freak wants to do for Pokemon is too much for 3DS to handle. This is why I'm glad Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are 3DS's last hurrah. The biggest thing that game did for me is inform me even further of what I think Game Freak should use Switch's extra horsepower for. First of all, let's get all the quality of life stuff out of the way. We need a seamless world. There's no reason for loading screens, no matter how brief, in between every town, route, city, or cave. We should be able to see the game's world on the horizon. If you see it, you can go there is the standard for Switch's big single-player focused game so far. If Mario can have vast open spaces, a JRPG like Pokemon should have one too. I also think the Switch's extra horsepower should be used to improve the visuals, but not in the way many have been saying. I want Pokemon for Switch to be super cartoonish, make it as close to the anime's art style as humanly possible. Could you imagine a Pokemon game in the Pokemon Origins art style? It would be that visual refresh a lot of fans have been asking for. It wouldn't be as taxing on the hardware as the ultra realistic art style many of them want, and most importantly for Switch, it would be scalable for the best possible looking docked and handheld mode visuals. An anime style pared down for handheld mode wouldn't be as noticeable as a realistic one. I also think the wild Pokemon should be visible within that new beautiful world. Random encounters don't really add to the experience, and they aren't really consistent with the world in the way they're currently done. Tall grass isn't tall enough to conceal most Pokemon. They should be visible in the overworld. It'll make the Pokemon world that much more realized, add more strategy to traversal, and cut down on a lot of the needless tedium that comes part and parcel with random encounters in the classic way. Switch is more than powerful enough to render better representations of Pokemon in the wild. It should make use of that. Speaking of which, I know this doesn't fall under quality of life, so time to move on from that, because despite the fact that I've been beating this drum for a while, it needs to be said. Let our Pokemon follow us. Jeez. And while you're at it, add things that allow us to interact in a meaningful way with our Pokemon. I think it would be awesome if being a trainer meant having a skill set that levels up while you become better at caring for your Pokemon. Craft potions, make their food, more directly help them learn attacks. Ever see the work Ash puts into teaching his Pokemon new moves? It'd be cool if they made move tutoring a gameplay mechanic similar to that and not just a few button presses like it is now. The trainer leveling system could operate like a skill tree. For instance, the more you fish and experience you gain, the better fishing equipment you unlock, which can lead to finding better Pokemon to catch, and the higher fisherman class you earn. That would tie into the idea I talked about in my last Pokemon for Switch video. Trainer classes having a skill tree would maybe mean that becoming a gym leader will require a certain level and particular skills. Same with being a breeder, which could allow for better Pokemon food that could help you EV train easier, or being a professor, which could give you the ability to find rarer Pokemon a bit easier, or a coordinator, which could allow for you to be better at improvising combo attacks, which we'll get more into. Let's talk about the battling system. I think the battling system needs tweaking, even if that's something as simple as spinning off a separate additional style of battle, similar to what was done with double battles, inverse battles, things like that. These tweaks should add more agency to the battling system, add more environmental combos like this. Or improvise techniques like this.
I knew it was coming. Now spin and use Fire Gun!
Or this. A simple turn-based system robs the Pokemon games of a lot of the charm that I feel is present in not only the animated series, but in the manga and even card game. It made sense that the handheld games up to this point kept it simple. They weren't really capable of translating this to the battle system in some way. It could barely handle the pre-scripted nature of its battling system as is. Imagine how poorly it would work if you throw in the ability to tell your Pokemon when they should try to dodge, jump, attack from different angles and vantage points. It would be a mess running on 3DS. But on Switch, imagine a Xenoblade or Ni no Kuni style battling system. It would be a great shot in the arm for the series, and making it optional would keep the current meta for the classic playstyle intact. I think there's even a potential for a system like this being embraced by the competitive community. It would minimize a lot of the RNG that's present in the current style. That's not to say I think it all should become skill based in this way and free of luck based mechanics. Things like hacks and random chances to miss should stay, although I think it should make more visual sense. Maybe the Pokemon loses control of their attack or misjudges the distance needed or something like that. Just the occasional random "you missed" every now and then isn't really acceptable when you can give a believable reason why we missed on screen. Plus, to evasiveness because of Double Team, represent that on screen by showing after images of the affected Pokemon and increase the effect visually as the status increases. Same with Poison, give the Pokemon animations of looking sick or for when they're burned, have them occasionally wince and grab the burn mark. Give Pokemon better body language that can tie into and match their nature and characteristics. You know, typical Nintendo level polish. Pokemon being on Switch could also bolster the online offerings with the new possibility to maybe have the fabled persistent shared world between players. Travel around with a few friends, Ash, Misty, and Brock style. It might be tough to pull off, but I think it's possible. At the very least, they'll make current online functionality for Pokemon games smoother and more feature-packed. Trading could be faster, they could blow up GTS and give us a better system because GTS is garbage. I also think Switch Online may add even more to the equation, but I'll leave my thoughts on Switch Online specifically for a separate video. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more on that in the future. I understand a lot of this is making the game a lot deeper than most of the mainline games, and I know I'll get a ton of comments about Pokemon being for kids and this being too intricate for them, but I disagree. I don't think games that are meant to be approachable for kids need to be dumbed down. Kids should be given access to media that doesn't pander, and I think Pokemon is a good place to go for that kind of entertainment. And for anyone skeptical of Game Freak and Nintendo's incentive to do this much for a Pokemon game, consider this. No one could have predicted Breath of the Wild. That game changed pretty much everything for Zelda. There have been rumblings within the industry that Game Freak has been wanting to give Pokemon a similar shakeup. I think these changes, in addition to the ones I talked about in the last video I mentioned before, could be an awesome way to give Pokemon a similar boost in the right direction. Secondly, Pokemon is the most profitable IP in the world of all time, even more profitable than Star Wars, a media juggernaut that's several years its senior. I think they should do a better job of acting like it. Be trailblazers, give us features that no one would expect. Make the world that they created that much more detailed and fully realized. I know for a fact it would pay off for them in droves because really no matter what they do, Pokemon for Switch will be the best selling game on the platform, without a doubt. But those are my thoughts. What do you think? What does Pokemon for Switch need to do to really wow you, Breath of the Wild style? Are you happy as is? Let me know what you think and why in the comments. If you like this video, make sure to let me know by subscribing and clicking like. If you loved it, share it with someone you know that has some good ideas for Pokemon on Switch. Or maybe that's just excited by the idea of the game in the first place. New videos here every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Click the bell next to the subscribe button to be notified when those go up. Okay, that's it for me. See you next week.